illegal at the time. Because it was illegal at the time, when we desperately needed that flow of capital, it was necessary to go to Congress and get these security laws enacted and other ones changed. And so that's what we did. We actually got 417 congressmen, 2/3 of the Senate, and on April 5th, 2012, President Obama signed into law the Jobs Act, Title III 4A6, the crowdfunding bill, which is the bill that I was one of the pioneers of, and helped to write the framework for and get passed through Congress.
That's great. So you've watched how this industry has changed in the last years.
Oh yeah, dramatically. I mean, I was involved in as an incubator during the .com heydays. We're talking, centuries ago, and watched people, saw how people were struggling then to access capital, and so it's a real game changer, and it's a lot of transformation. When you think about the fact that there's trillions of dollars sitting on the sidelines, and you think about the fact that when people are compelled to do something with their money, they have discretionary money. I mean, my God, how many billions? I think it's something like $50 billion a year spent on lottery tickets, and everyone knows they're never going to win. That's not even like you think you really have no chance whatsoever. But it still doesn't stop people. And so what we want to see happen is that crowdfunding becomes part of people's DNA, and when they know they're getting their Christmas bonus, they say, hey, let's take 10% of this and go crowdfund. Let's go invest in some innovative, entrepreneurial friend or some idea they saw online, and support innovation and job creation. And I know that will happen one day. It will be literally part of as natural as checking your email, going online to Facebook. There's nobody prompting you to do that. You do it because it's in your DNA. And I know that's going to happen with crowdfunding someday too.
Do you think people would have to have any special consideration to the crowdfunding, any special DNA or something like that, or not?
No, the people who put the money in are doing it because they're compelled by some cause, some product they like. They want to get the product at below the manufacturer and suggested retail price. Or now they can actually own a piece of the company, because as of May 16th, it's legal for everybody in America to make these kind of investments for stock, for equity.
So a lot of people talk about crowdfunding, but they don't really understand, some of them don't really understand what is the basis of crowdfunding. Could you explain that in terms that everybody can understand?
Sure. So it's basically, it's actually been around for a long time. The Statue of Liberty was crowdfunded in the newspaper. The statue was donated or given to us as a gift, but the actual base that it sits on needed to be built, and they needed $130,000. So they went on to the newspaper and they put ads in the newspaper and asked the public to make a donation to be able to place the Statue of Liberty where it is today. So it's been around for a long time, but obviously with the advent of the computer and the internet, it's been able to just take off. And people put up a cause, a project, a prototype, artwork, could be their music, it could be a book they want to self-publish, or it could be a cause, could be a disaster like Katrina, the Boston bombing, and now equity in a business. And they put that information out to the public on the internet, and the public, if they're interested in funding it, go to a funding portal or a crowdfunding website and make that contribution, pledge, back, or investment into that thing, and that's crowdfunding.
And what do they want? What do they get in return?
Well, sometimes they just get good. They get the feeling of doing some good. In the cases of nonprofit crowdfunding, other times they get a thank you, like could be a T-shirt, a baseball cap, could be tickets to, say, an off-Broadway play, or they could get most cases what they want is they want the product when it's finally manufactured. They want it below the manufactured suggested retail price. And that's how the campaigners have gotten people to back these campaigns, because the product that they're going to sell, for example, the Pebble watch, which is on its third crowdfunding campaign, created a smartwatch, and let's say it retails for $200 or $300. On their crowdfunding campaign, maybe it's $75. So people are going, well, hell, I'll back that campaign to save that much money. I'm willing to take, I'm willing to gamble on this company and hope they manufacture it and get through the whole process.
That's very interesting. What is the craziest idea that you've seen being crowdfunded?
Well, I mean, the one that everyone's heard of, or a lot of people have heard of, is the potato salad recipe. A guy was trying to make a mockery of the whole process or see what would happen. But he put on a Kickstarter, no, I think it was Indiegogo actually, that he wanted to raise $10 for a new potato salad recipe, or the ingredients for a potato salad. And he raised $50,000.
Did you share potato salads with people?
For the potato salad, to make potato salad. And then he got a ton of publicity. And then he was guilted into donating the money to a charity. So in the end, it all worked out good.
Oh, that's good.
But that was pretty crazy.
That's good. That's good. I've done 3 crowdfunding campaigns myself. None of them have been successful. And through one of the companies I invested, we've done 5. All of them successful, and the last one we got $500,000 on pre-sales. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's very interesting because some people use crowdfunding for different things, for testing the market, or leveraging with angel investing, or with other investing, or for just testing what people like, and they put different things in here and there, and just makes it very, very interesting. Many projects, however, don't get funded. What do you think is a secret sauce to a great project?
It isn't really a secret sauce per se. It's really a lot of things coming together in the right moment in time. There's a lot of preparation that has to get done, and that preparation has to be very effective. So you can prepare a lot of stuff, but if it's not working, like you could set up a Twitter page and a Facebook page and start writing a blog and put out a press release. But if none of it's effective, then the fact that the fact that you did it doesn't mean anything. And then there's the other side of this, which is you need a team. You increase your chances of raising the money by 70% with 4 or more people working the campaign with you. That's huge. So if you're trying to do this by yourself, and you have a greater chance of failing, basically. And then those people have to be effective at doing the same things as well. So, if the people you're relying on don't know what they're doing, that's not going to help you. So really, it's a team effort with a lot of preparation. And then obviously the last thing is you have to have something that resonates with people. If you have a tiny little niche idea, and you're then essentially going to not attract a large audience, because there's not a large audience for that idea if it's a little niche idea. So, I would say those 3 things.
So teamwork, or a good team, a lot of preparation, good idea.
Execution on the preparation. So I have this product. It's called crowdfundingcrm.com. And it's a marketing automation social media platform on one side to help you build a crowd. And then on the other side, you are preparing your crowdfund campaign. You're making your video, you're making your Twitter posts, you're writing the press release, and we're giving you instructions along the way to prepare all this stuff. But again, if you are trying to raise money for something that is, most people wouldn't understand when you explain it to them, or doesn't really have much sex appeal or much interest to the general public, it just might not work, you know?
Yeah. Well, like anything in life, you have to add value. You have to create value. You have to create something that people are interested in. And it's very interesting about the execution. I see a lot of people think that crowdfunding is easy. That has not been my experience. I don't think it's impossible. I just think that you need to be prepared. I also noticed in that the last campaign that I did for the program Women Get Funded, that was unsuccessful. I also saw that the minute I started the program, I probably got 50 emails from people that claimed that they were experts. And there's a lot of controversy about people manipulating the data or people buying into backing a campaign or something like that. For those of you who are not familiar with crowdfunding, and you can go here into the chat, I'm going to put there the ones that are online. Please answer how many of you have backed campaigns. Those who are on the phone, you can't really answer that at the moment. I backed probably over 20 campaigns for various reasons, just because I think it's interesting, or they're doing some cool stuff. But what I thought that was interesting was the amount of people that claim that they can help you that are not well prepared. So I vetted those people, but I could feel that if somebody, thank you, Robert. But I could feel that a lot of people would be misled into trying to find an expert to do these or not. I'm getting here. A lot of people here are new to crowdfunding, and they haven't really done that. So they're different.
They haven't backed anything. They haven't backed anything yet. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they haven't really participated. I encourage people who are considering crowdfunding for their projects to go in, select some platforms, and start playing with that, and maybe make a pledge of, a few dollars. A lot of campaigns have $1 or $2 or $5 pledges. I believe that Kickstarter and Indiegogo are the ones that I'm more familiar with. There are many. I've used Kickstarter a lot. I've used Kickstarter, and the company that I invested just raised $500,000 on Fig, like the fruit fig, fig.co. They specialize in video games. But there are many platforms, and the platforms work differently. But I encourage those of you, thank you. Starting to get the responses. I encourage those of you, if you have never used crowdfunding, go into some platforms and back a project and learn how to use it from the user's perspective. You also mentioned, Ruth, that you have these crowdfunding CRM to make the process easier. Is there any way that people can test that?
Yeah, we have a free trial. It's a 14-day free trial. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very good.
And it's like Infusionsoft or Aweber or Salesforce. It's got a very sophisticated marketing automation and social media platform built into it, where you can create a series of social posts for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and you can set them up on a calendar to go out automatically for you, which is a huge help. And then you can create emails that tell your story, which is the whole point of crowdfunding. It's all about a story that is compelling to lots of people. They're watching a video, hearing your story, they're reading the text, you're sending them emails, you're writing a blog post. All of that information is what eventually creates an audience and drives the traffic to your crowdfunding campaign. So there's this lead up time. You've got to invest a good 3 to 6 months doing all those things I just said effectively if you really want to raise a lot of money. If you just think you can set it and forget it, and 2 weeks before you learned about crowdfunding today, and 2 weeks from now you're going to go crowdfund, it's never going to work. And that's why there is, even though there's been $2 billion on Kickstarter, that one website alone, there's still a very high failure rate on Kickstarter, which is close to like 52%. and it goes up to even into the 90% on websites that are much less populated, where most people have never heard of them. But having said that, in 2012, when I did my first global crowdfunding convention, the entire industry was $1.7 billion worldwide. And last year, we exceeded $35 billion. And this year, we're projected to do over $60 billion, which is more money than VCs invest collectively.
Yeah. And I tell you what,
it's really powerful and exciting.
Well, crowdfunding is not for all the products or all the types of companies, but I see more and more as an angel investor in a group of angel investors here in Silicon Valley, we are sending people that can be crowdfunded back and telling them, go and try crowdfunding and then come to us, because it's a better use of their resources. If you think about it, if you're going to try to raise money, it's very difficult to raise $1 million, which everybody thinks is very easy to do in Silicon Valley. Well, that is a lie. It's not very easy.
Right.
But it is fairly common to start raising $100,000 to $200,000 or $300,000. If you go and look for an investor, they're going to want some equity on your company, and that takes a lot of time. You're probably better off preparing a crowdfunding campaign during 4, 5, 6 months and going after the people and then receiving not only the funds, but the credibility to then go with that to an angel investor or even to a VC fund and tell them, now we want this. Now we have proven that people are interested in that. And if people are not interested, you're going to fix your product and you fix the market. And then you better prepare as well. It's a win-win, I think. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the best proof of concept you can possibly create is to go to an angel or VC and say, hey, I raised $100,000 and 5,000, 10,000 people gave me money. That's a powerful thing, because that's 10,000 new potential consumers who will buy the product once you get the balance of the funding and get the product on the marketplace, or more. I mean, in the case of, we have at the convention, Bobach, which is the travel jacket, this very cool product. They raised $2 million on Indiegogo, and then went on to Kickstarter and raised $9 million. So they raised $11 million in 2 campaigns. They're actually launching next, I think at the end of this month or next month, their third crowdfunding campaign. And it's amazing. It's the 4th biggest campaign on Kickstarter ever. And the CEO is coming to share his story with how he did this. And he has 55,000 backers. Now, if somebody came to you as an angel investor with that story, and someone else came to you with no story, I mean, obviously, this is invaluable. Having all of these backers, having all of this goodwill, having all this proof of concept that clearly 55,000 people are waiting for that product. I mean, my God, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's incredible. I don't know if people here have some questions about that, but it's really amazing what technology can do to help you move that. So I'm going to go here. What is it's that on Kickstarter? What is the name of the campaign again? Because I'm going to try to show that.
It's BAUBAX. BAUBAX. It's called the travel. You can type in the travel jacket, and it's really cool. The one of the pockets is a charger, so you put your cell phone in the pocket and it charges it. And then there's another thing. It's like the Swiss Army knife of jacket. It has its own little headrest. You can blow up like a pillow in the back of the hoodie. And so when you're on an airplane and you want to you want to sleep, it has its own built-in headrest. Mm-hmm. And it's a whole bunch of other gadgets, and it's all built into this jacket, and the public loved it.
Oh yeah, and, I'm just looking at these. Look at these. I'm sharing the screen with the audience. It's almost 45,000 backers only on Kickstarter. This is just,
Yeah.
and this is for those
Yeah.
of you who have not used it. This is how a good campaign looks. Look at this. They have 11,000 comments, 20 updates, very engaging, following up with people. They do stretch as well. And, you know, this is the power of the crowds. And when people start buying into these and they start sharing, that's when you start really to
Absolutely.
to enjoy the power of crowds. This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Now there's a difference between Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Can you tell us a little bit about that in the two different platforms, or maybe there are more that I don't?
Yeah. No. So on Kickstarter, it's called All or Nothing, which means you have to raise all the money or you get nothing. So if you tell Kickstarter, I want to go use your platform to raise $20,000, and you raise $15,000, you get nothing. If you go to Indiegogo and do the exact same thing, Indiegogo lets you keep the $15,000. Now, if you've promised the pledgers some product in return for this money, that $15,000 or other money you have had better be able to, you know, provide whatever it is you promise the audience in rewards, or you're going to have a big problem. But if you can do that, then you can keep the money. And that's really one of the big differences.
Yeah, I'm sharing Indiegogo here on the screen with the rest of the audience. Indiegogo also has some stores. I was in San Francisco the other day next to a big retailer. I don't remember if it was Nordstrom or Macy's, but a big anchor retailer in a big shopping mall right in the middle of San Francisco by Union Square. And I found a little store, an Indiegogo store, where people can go and put the products there, and Indiegogo would retail them.
Really? Oh my God, how wonderful.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I thought that was very, very interesting. I thought that was really
very cool.
Very, very cool what is happening. Now, I wonder if you could tell us about the legislation, and I'm going to get into, I have some questions here as well in the chat, but you were recently invited to the White House. Can you tell us what are the changes? And just for the record, a lot of people who are here are not from the U.S., but we can learn from that.
Hello?
Yes. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just muted you voluntarily.
Yeah, it said you're muted. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So that's okay. When we got this legislation passed, it was the first time anywhere in the world that this type of law had been created. And so other countries decided to follow suit. And so now you have equity crowdfunding in Italy, you have it in Germany, you have it all over Europe, it's in China, it's in Singapore, it's in more than 45 countries have equity crowdfunding because of the work that me and my business partners did to get this law passed. On May 16th, I was actually at Capitol Hill. It wasn't the White House. I was in the White House at the White House years ago after the original law, but I was in Capitol Hill for the on May 16th, which was the launch date for Title III, and we presented some congressmen and some senators with some awards, thanking them for helping us get this done. And then we had a big cocktail party and everything. And there was Doug Rand from the White House was there. And I actually have a picture with him, which was very exciting. And we just got to all, sort of revel in the success of this thing. And like I said early on, it essentially allows unaccredited investors, which is just average Americans, 240 million, to invest just like an angel investor would. They can read a business plan. They can look at the valuation, watch the video. They can communicate with the officers and directors of the company. And if they like this deal, they can make an investment online through the funding portal. That's the only caveat. It's not person to person. It's all done online through the funding portal.
Mm-hmm. And who is going to follow up on those investments?
Who follows up on them? What do you mean follows up on them?
Well, when we make an investment, we follow up. We make an investment and we don't leave the company alone. We make an investment and we help the company. We support the company. We participate. We as angel investors, here, and that's the way I've done it in the past.
Right.
So you get the money and then you are informed, but you also participate. You make connections. You revise the strategy. Sometimes you're in the board, sometimes you're not, but you follow up with them. So
right. Well, every deal is going to be different. So every deal on the funding portal is going to be arranged based on the issuers and the offering to the entrepreneurs, and then of course, how much of the stock they're selling and how many entrepreneurs. If they have thousands of people investing, it's going to be obviously they're not going to be able to communicate with all of them in the same way. They're going to have to give them quarterly reports or half-yearly reports or whatever is required by the SEC, and so the information will, is going to be transparent. But in terms of whether they can, have an input into the growth and development of the company directly, I don't know, but they can obviously have an effect by, again, the power and wisdom of the crowd. I mean, think about this. You have, hundreds or thousands of investors now who have a vested interest in the success of your company. They're going to share that company with every time there's a milestone. They're going to share it with all their friends and fans and followers and Facebook friends. An exponential growth right in the palm of your hand that you don't have when you have one angel investor or one VC. So that's really another added advantage to crowdfunding.
That is really fantastic. Who do you think benefits most from crowdfunding?
It just depends on what it is. I mean, it just really depends on what it is. I mean, if it's a cure for cancer, we're all going to benefit. Mm-hmm. If it's, some little gadgety thing that, a keychain or something, I don't know, it's going to be mostly, hopefully the job creation that comes out of it.
The economy?
If the economy is going to, we're going to all benefit that way. I mean, there's so many different ways crowdfunding helps. It's kind of hard to sort of quantify who benefits the most. I think it's a good deal. Everybody benefits,
That's really I think it's a great option for everybody, for the entrepreneurs, for the investors, but also for the employees and the suppliers of these companies, and ultimately for the consumers, because then we're going to have access to things that otherwise we couldn't have.
Yeah, so many things that would never have seen the light of day exist today because of crowdfunding. And even on the donation side, I mean, you have like when the Boston bombing happened, this husband and wife on Sunday each lost a leg, and Monday morning some of their friends put up a GoFundMe, which is donation-based crowdfunding campaign for them, and by Friday they had raised $750,000 in 5 days.
Wow!
Which was amazing and a miracle for this couple, because they were both going to be in and out of many operations for a long time, and they would have had lots of bills and financial problems. Had they waited on some government program, had they waited on a telethon or some other thing, it could have taken months and months and months, or maybe never, for money to come 5 or 10 years, 20 years ago before crowdfunding. But now their friends were able to, when they came out of their operations, they were able to say, look, don't worry, we've got all your bills covered. I mean, that was, to me, that's such a heartfelt, amazing, wonderful story, and really one of the great things that crowdfunding does.
And that has nothing to do with an investment on something. It's just bringing the power of the crowd to support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, you run the largest convention on crowdfunding. I wanted to spend time talking about it. How did you create it? Why did you create it, and how did you come about that? And then I'm going to ask you a few questions about that.
Sure. So after the bill was passed in April 5th, 2012, I noticed that it wasn't exactly what we had been hoping for in terms of how to actually execute these offerings and sell the stock. And I realized there was going to be a lot of education needed. So I thought, let me put on a little boot camp I live in Las Vegas. We are the convention capital of the world. We put on 22,000 conventions. 40 million people come here every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized this was the perfect place to do it. And in the first year, I got a lot of publicity and I got a lot of people. And I thought maybe I'm onto something here. I looked around and didn't see any other crowdfunding conventioneers. So I thought, well, maybe this is my calling. So I have been putting it on now. This is our 5th one.
Mm-hmm.
We've had people come from 20 countries,
Mm-hmm.
Singapore, Australia. I mean, that's a 20-hour plane ride. The Spanish embassy bought 12 tickets one year because Spain has a 40% unemployment rate, and they wanted those business people to bring back what they learned from our convention back to their country.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've just been continuously scaling the convention to try and have the best and brightest, interesting speakers. And you're going to participate this year, which we were very excited about. We have 13 angels from Sand Hill Angel Group coming,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got all kinds of people. It's very exciting.
So I'm looking at your website here. How do people register here?
There's a button on the homepage and around to register.
Here.
Yeah.
The button here, get tickets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And if people want to come, what do you think they should do to make the best out of it?
Well, I mean, they need to really immerse themselves in the content. We have, very detailed procedural type panels and speakers. This is not a high-level conversation. We're having a high-level conversation, you and I, on this webinar. We're just having, broad stroke information, general broad strokes. When people come to my convention, they get real specific details, and they meet the right service providers, they meet the right platform owners, the lawyers, the accountants, the CPAs, all these people they will need eventually to execute on these securities offerings and learn and be successful at crowdfunding.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a good time. We have cocktail parties, and we have the crowdfunding award show. We're having a red carpet and an after party in the London Club. We're having a crowdfunding marketplace where some of these vendors are coming to sell their products, just like you were talking about with Indiegogo having a shop. We're letting people do live crowdfunding, so they can open up a laptop, and if they have a prototype of a product, they can bring it, and right from the expo floor, they can actually crowdfund the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have extremely high-level panels, and we're doing something really fun this year. We're doing a game show called Who Wants to Raise $1 Million?
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be like a combination of Jeopardy and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And we're going to give out prizes to people who memorize some of these laws and have the answers. And so it'll be a fun way to learn while watching people play a game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the convention is for people who want to learn about crowdfunding, want to apply crowdfunding, either as investors or as
campaigners. That's why we've invited all of you to educate the public on how to be an investor. Mm-hmm. Like I said, 240 million Americans can now invest like an angel investor, but they don't know how to do that. So we want you to share the kind of things that you look for when you're reading a business plan, when you're looking at evaluation, when you're talking to the entrepreneurs. What is it about these people that make you want to invest in one and not want to invest in the other? Mm-hmm. So we're going to be, having those kind of conversations, which is, generic to anybody. I mean, it's not a specific convention because that thing is now applicable to everyone in America. And then the other side, obviously, is that, we have millions of small business owners and millions of startups and entrepreneurs constantly looking for funding who have given up on the VC angel world and have run through their credit cards and run through their equity in their home, and this is a whole new opportunity for them, So we really want to be able to share that and hope that they walk away with the ability to actually do this and raise the money they need.
Hmm. Do you think if somebody wants to do a crowdfunding campaign, do you think it would be useful to them to try to join a team and say, I would like to help and learn that way?
I mean, yeah, of course. If they had a friend who was crowdfunding and they wanted to help them out so they could learn if the friend knew what they were doing, you know what I mean? Yes, then it would obviously be very helpful before they jumped in themselves. Mm-hmm. But they don't have to necessarily do it that way. They just need to get educated. That's why we produce a convention every year. I mean, we've had a tremendous influence on a lot of people that you know. If you read articles people are writing, other people are speaking about crowdfunding, who came to my convention 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and then became so excited about what they learned, they decided to become experts. And now they're running around the country teaching other people. So, we've had a great influence on a lot of people to help build the industry.
Well, I also think that as any industry, this opens up a world of opportunity for people that want to craft a career supporting crowdfunding. So I've hired probably 8 different people besides my team to do little things like the graphics, the video, the social. I mean, there's so many things that you need, like any business. And some of them are not that expensive, but it just opens a world of opportunity.
Right.
So I think it's a very interesting and engaging way of participating in a disruption of the funding process. I have a question from the audience. I want to read it to you. That's actually 2 questions, but let's start with the first one. Is there an effective preparation that could be done before starting the campaign to increase the probability of success?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, that's why I built the crowdfunding CRM.com platform specifically to make sure people knew all those steps, because there's a lot of different things. I mean, I'll give you an example. Even the timing of the launch of your campaign can affect your success. And the reason is because there is you have to do several things to be successful. One, you have to have between 20 and 30% of the funds that you are looking to raise pre-committed by your real friends and your real family. Think about it this way. If you are asking complete strangers to contribute or invest in you, and they go to the website, it's 3 days into the crowdfunding campaign, it's empty. There's not a single dime in there. How's that going to look if you don't you have a brother, a mother, a father, a friend, anybody who believes in your vision? If you don't, why should the general public who doesn't even know you at all? If you can't compel anybody you really know. So right there, that's like a big, that's one of the biggest mistakes people make. And it's even worse when there's a team. So like you go to a crowdfunding campaign, you see the pick 5 people's photos. Here's the company. The 5 of us are doing this, and there's not a single dollar. 5 days, 2 weeks out, not a single dollar. It's a terrible way to launch a crowdfunding campaign. And then the date, like I was saying, the date. People, for some reason, they'll start a campaign, Friday night or something, right for a weekend when everybody's not as many people are online. They're running around having a good time over the weekend, so you lose that first traction. There's certain times, certain days that are better than others. Some people started crowdfunding over a holiday when everyone's going on vacation. So, there's, I wrote an article called 50 Shades of Crowdfunding that covers 50 things, and just in that article alone. So there are lots of things. Google, here's another one. Google yourself and see what comes up. If nothing comes up, that's a problem. If bad things come up, that's a problem. And the reason is because obviously if bad things come up, we all know why that's a problem. But if nothing comes up, people want to invest or contribute to thought leaders, to people who they believe in are going to go out in the world and do whatever it is they're investing in.
Mm-hmm.
If you are nowhere to be found on the internet, that's not a really good thing. So I tell people to start blogging, writing articles. If they can get some publicity, that's really fantastic. I mean, if you Google me, for example, I've been in Forbes 7 times, the Wall Street Journal, the Huffington Post, you name it. Over 52 major publications I've been either quoted or interviewed. So when people, which has helped me with the credibility of my convention, for sure, you know.
Yeah.
If nobody had heard of me, I don't think I would be in the position I'm in today.
Yeah.
Putting this convention on. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When I've done the best campaigns that I have done personally, we've spent 2 to 3 months designing the campaign and probably 2 to 3 months creating the material for the campaign. And in the last campaign, in the last campaign that I did for this program, because it overlapped a little bit, but the one for this particular program, I had press releases, TV programs, a huge social marketing campaign, and a lot of things came out of time. So the TV programs were recorded before we started the campaign, and they promised we were going to do it like 2-3 days after the campaign started. I had 20% of backers the first 3 days, and that's a key issue. You have to have a lot of backers at the beginning, as you said, for families. But then after that, the TV show came out to the public a week after the campaign started. So that was, you just need to be very, very well prepared. The other one where we raised a lot of money, we spent 8 months working on that. 8 months, and it was a lot of work. Now I have 2 other questions here, and I think you covered that one. How important it is to get credibility before starting a crowdfunding campaign? So you have to be recognizable online. That's what you say. You have to build your trust and your credibility. Like you have,
and have a social presence. Meaning you have to have a Twitter page with some Twitter followers, and quality postings too. It's not just about getting a bunch of followers. You need to share content that makes you look like a thought leader, that makes you look like an intelligent person that is, out there contributing in the world. Same thing with Facebook and LinkedIn. All of that stuff really matters in the world of crowd. It matters in general. I mean, in general business, but it also really matters in crowdfunding.
Did you have any experiences, or do you have any comments about Facebook?
Well, it's interesting about Facebook, actually. I started on LinkedIn and Twitter long before I ever got involved in Facebook, because I thought Facebook was just a bunch of people sharing what they ate for dinner, and sharing their little, photos of their dog and their kids and, little silly stuff. So I never really even logged in for a long time. I was on Twitter since 2009, and I have close to 80,000 Twitter followers. And I'm on LinkedIn. I have over 3,000 LinkedIn connections at a very high level. Wow. Reject most people who, try and link to me, because I'm not interested in numbers on LinkedIn. I'm interested in creating real relationships with people on LinkedIn. It's an extremely powerful platform to make real relationships. I found lots of speakers and lots of sponsors through LinkedIn over the years for my convention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have another question here. Typically, what are the best days or times to launch a campaign other than it not being a holiday or Friday weekend?
I can't tell you with absolute certainty because I don't study the data, but there are things on the internet, but I've heard like Tuesday. I don't know why Tuesday is a good day. And again, every month would be different. The week of the month, if it's a holiday, I mean, there's a bunch of different criteria, and you can probably Google it, and I'm sure somebody's written about it in more detail. It's not something I know specifically. I just know what days not to do it on. I don't necessarily know what's the best day you know, but I know that I think it's something like in the middle of the week, starting on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that is better than, you know, Monday, everybody's crazy. They're all catching up on their emails. They don't have time to, like, you know, and Friday, everybody wants to, like, get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
If you sent them an email and said, hey, look at my crowdfunding, they're probably not going to do it. So I think some in the middle of the week, in terms of the day of the week.
Okay.
It's better.
Okay. I hope that answered your question. Do you have any last comments? And we have other questions coming, but I just want to make sure that we cover every thing that you think it's relevant for crowdfunding.
You know, I just think that people need to take this seriously. This is a job like anything else, and it's not build it and they will come. There's no field of dreams here. You know, your idea is that you know, isn't the most brilliant thing in the world, and the minute you put it online, it's just going to completely resonate with everybody. It doesn't work like that. People have to get very realistic about this stuff. Again, they should survey their real fans and friends and their family, and ask them if they'd be willing to contribute or invest. And if none of them want to do that, it's probably not going to work online. You know. And they shouldn't waste their time and their money putting a campaign together. And they should, you know, if they still believe in their idea, they should go find the funding somewhere else. But the people around them are a pretty good, you know, reflection of what's going to happen with the crowd. You know.
Yeah, or probably start asking and expanding the network to see if somebody would believe in their idea. I think the lesson here is that crowdfunding is not something that you need to take lightly. It's a serious commitment and approach it professionally.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of stories like any investment stories. There's a lot of stories about, oh, these people did this and that, but that's not realistic, and that's probably not the majority of people. I want to share with the audience Fig, because I think it's interesting to consider what Fig did. It's a new platform. And whilst I do that, I hope that people are going to continue asking questions as we go along. Let me just share the screen with Fig. Yeah. So Fig has an interesting combination. They were a little bit ahead of the curve because they were preparing for the implementation of the new law, or for the capacity to do crowd investing. And what they did was they launched in January or February this year, and they started doing things slowly but gradually. They only have one project at the time. Only one project at the time. They don't do more than that. And then right after the law passed, they added the investor part. And they're doing it very slowly, so they make sure that they control the process. They only work with video games. So this is, I don't know if you can see it, Ruth, but this is Jay and Silent Bob is the company. It's based on the company that I invested in. It's Interabank Entertainment is one of their projects, and they were working on this for a long time. So they had $445,000 on pre-sale and $50,000 on investments. So if you think about that, a little bit more than 55. If you think about that, they only needed to raise 10% of the money that they needed to do the game. So that's huge in terms of equity and in terms of credibility.
Right.
Yeah, there's another one here that is raising, is on, they just finished for 348. And the first one that they did raised $3.8 million. That was the first one, but there's a reason for that. The three individuals that created Fig are very successful video game developers. So they said, we're going to test this and we're going to launch this. And they gather all these people through 2 or 3 months, and they just work nonstop. So they have a huge track record. They have 24,000 people, gave them almost $4 million. So this is the power of crowdfunding.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And this is why I think it's important to know the foundation of crowdfunding instead of going and playing around through, I'm going to do GoFundMe or Indiegogo or Kickstarter without really knowing. I think it's really cool that you can come and share with us just the foundation and the basics, so then can people apply it in different platforms. I'm gonna open here. I'm gonna see if there's any other questions here. Yeah, okay. There's hold on a second. Let me just read that. I have a question that came through email. Do you know about, let me see where this is. There's other platforms. There's other platforms here. Do you know about Smash Fund? Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, they're actually a sponsor of my convention.
Oh, good.
And no, they have a very interesting model. I'm very interested in seeing their what it looks like once they fully launch. They're kind of in a silent beta right now, but yeah, they've actually come on. They're going to be inviting a bunch of their members to come and meet at the convention in October.
Okay, what can you tell us? What is their key differentiator?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. So here's the premise: you have to build a crowd to crowdfund, right? You have to have Twitter followers and Facebook friends. You have to have a big email list. Well, what they're saying essentially is, are you getting paid by Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram while you're building all these traffic for their website? And the answer is no. I just told you I've been on, Twitter since 2009. I've never made any money from Twitter. So what Smash Fund has done, I think I sent you something actually, Alicia, about this. But anyways, I will, and I'll send something to you. But the idea is that it's like having a LinkedIn premium account, which costs money, and then they share the revenue, 80% of the revenue, with all of the followers, and so you're actually creating funding while you're building a crowd on one side of their platform, and then on the other side is a space to run the campaign. So you're making money both ways. You're making money building a crowd, and then you're making money if you choose to run a traditional campaign with the video and all the text and all that stuff for a specific cause. It's not equity right now. So it's a cause, basically a cause-related type situation. And so that's how it works.
This is fantastic. I think we spoke about it. This is great. So I have these here on the screen in case people want to go and check that out. I don't know if they're on beta test or not or something. I think they are, but they are on beta test now. So this is really great. We have a few more minutes, five more minutes to go through the call. I want to thank you, Ruth, for coming up and talking to us. I think this has been fantastic. I really appreciate talking to somebody who has been in the industry for a long time, because not a lot of people have. And I want to thank you for showing us some of the sites that you did and sharing us your comments and your thoughts about opportunities and challenges. I want to make sure that there are some no other questions that are unanswered. I'm going to go through here to the chat room to see if I missed anything. Yeah, I don't see anything here. Oh, there's one that just came by email. Do you think there's any particular challenges on foreign companies trying to do crowdfunding in the U.S.?
You can't do a Title III campaign unless you're a U.S. corporation. So you can't crowdfund.
Okay. Do you know if you have to be an American citizen or a resident to do the corporation? Because there's something called the S Corp, where everybody has to be an American citizen, and there's the LLC and the C Corps and the sole proprietors. Right.
So you can't do Title III with an S Corp because you're limited to 100 investors.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that was the other thing. But, if you come to the US and you're prepared, you can do it. Come to the convention. And
Yeah, I mean, but you don't need to come. You don't need to crowdfund in the United States anymore. There's crowdfunding legal in 42 countries. So probably wherever these people are, they can crowdfund on platforms in their own country if they want to do securities, regulation crowdfunding. There's lots of regulation out there. I think in Italy you can crowdfund from anywhere as anybody. I don't think they have any restrictions on being Italian or being a citizen in Italy, and maybe I don't follow every country's laws, but it's definitely expanding all the time,
Yeah, I think the challenge also is for people to understand that they have to be responsible about the funds that they get. There have been some serious issues about companies that raise a lot of money, and instead of using it to develop products, they use it to, I don't know, to buy furniture for the owners or something like that. And I'm sure that's going to backfire to the founders or the entrepreneurs who do that. So,
right.
Yes, you have to be responsible for people's funds. Okay, well, Ruth, thank you very much. As usual, we leave our guest speakers to provide the last words of wisdom. So it's your turn.
Sure. I just want to, tell everyone to live to your own potential. And to make, each day what's best in you come out and share it with the world, because, you have all this potential, and especially with crowdfunding, you can see how the crowd validates people who have never had a chance in life in that way. And now with crowdfunding, we all do. And I just, hope that everyone will spend some time really getting to more familiar with it, and if they have some great ideas or a cause that they care about, they should use crowdfunding to make that dream come true.
Great. Well, thank you so much on behalf of myself and the
thank you.
Thank you again, and I hope I can see the rest of the participants in another Firechat at Women Get Funded or Funding Your $1 Million Idea, and or join us on Twitter at Alicia Castillo or Facebook at Wealthing. Thank you so much, Ruth, and I'll see you soon because I'm going to the convention.
Yes, and it's the gccworld.com.
Yeah, I put it on the chat room so people have it.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great evening. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.